this is the 26th, so I guess a merry belated Christmas to everyone listening to this after the holidays. I hope you got everything you wanted.
Yeah.
You got a new episode that happened in the 90s, fresh up. Maybe he's getting a government check, Steve. That's the most we can hope for at this point. Takes a long, hard look at Wendy.
5 times.
Happened in the 90s.
Is the first day of Kwanzaa, Matt. And it's celebrated.
Yes.
Yeah, it's celebrated until January 1st, but it's also Boxing Day.
Is that a Canadian thing or is that an English thing? What is that, Steve?
The origins are in the UK, but it's celebrated in Canada as well, and it's transferred. It could be the 27th or 28th. They want to make sure Boxing Day is always during a weekday. So if the 26th happens to fall on Sunday, then it'll be the 27th.
I respect that because one thing as working with a company that's based in the UK that you find out, they, share some holidays with us, but they have these things called banking holidays where everyone gets off. And I think that's the thing, Steve. They like a nice holiday. So fuck it. If it falls on the weekend and they move it a day so you get an extra day off, that's mucho respecto from my perspective, Steve.
They also like spotted dick.
Yeah, fancy some bangers and mash, Steve, on me bum. You'd think I knew more, but
Me bloody wanker.
blood sausage in me fanny. Yeah, it's weird. They like some weird shit. Weirdly enough, what I'm finding out is that when you go there, and this is from people who go there that are American that I've talked to in my company, their food sucks, right? But you know what the best food that they have is, and I'm for it. You're not as like into like exotic foods as I am. Indian foods, Steve.
I was just going to say, yeah.
It's bizarre you go to the UK and that's the best thing to get, but hey, Indian food's delicious. So shout out.
Well, didn't Bill Burr have a joke about that when we went and saw him? Like, y'all steal all the Indian recipes and still can't cook.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that's true, dude. I guess it is notorious. And I think there was like some derogatory term used in Snatch for people of Indian descent. I'm not going to say it, but yeah, I think it's just kind of a note. Maybe it's just, they have a lot of Indians there. And thankfully, those people do know how to cook, Steve, because otherwise you'd be eating sausage and potatoes all the time. Which,
Mashers.
I mean, bangers and mash in me butt.
Get to watch a lot of Benny Hill.
Eat some crumpets and play cricket, Steve. Cricket.
Some Mr. Bean.
Absolutely fabulous. There's some hitters there. Ricky Gervais.
Men behaving badly.
Double decker bus. It's all there, Steve.
Faulty Towers, but
Big
right.
Ben. That's it. That's all I know about him, Steve. But yeah, dude. Shout out Boxing Day. Shout out to holidays in general. This is the 26th, so I guess a merry belated Christmas to everyone listening to this after the holidays. I hope you got everything you wanted.
Yeah.
You got a new episode that happened in the 90s, fresh up, waiting for you.
You're welcome. So let's say you get a chance to walk into the Fox animation world. Doc Brown came from the future. Is like, Matt, you can go to these two places, Quahog or Springfield, and have a drink with your best friend, but you can only pick one. Who's your drinking partner, Homer Simpson or Peter Griffin?
Oh, I'm going Peter Griffin all day, Steve. It's a party.
And why is that?
I mean, I feel like they're equal. I don't know. I just feel like there's more of a party there. You're also in a better place for food. Get some clams. Get a couple of lobster rolls while you're out there. A couple of whatevers. But I hate to even do this Sophie's Choice, Steve, because I'd love to go to Springfield too. But I just feel like Family Guy, Peter Griffin, you're just getting a party, and you get to hang out with a talking dog because he's going to be there too.
Yeah, I'm kind of cool, Brian, man. He's low-key racist. But I've seen some of the episodes like, man, why are you barking at the brother? But I agree. Peter Griffin, I think you'd have a laugh, man. I think he's funnier than Homer. Homer's he's good for the purpose he serves, man. But Peter by himself, I think he's just a funnier dude, man.
Yeah, dude. I mean, Homer, you might get strangled. You got to go to that dive bar and hang out with Barney and shit. That's going to be depressing. And he's
Mo,
got, he's Mo. I actually would love to party with Mo. I think that'd be kind of be fun. He's a party animal.
he's pretty depressing too, though.
Yeah, he is kind of a downer. Now that you might, yeah, I'm with you. You've sold me even more so, Steve. Let's go to Quahog right now. It's a party.
Yeah. And Quagmire knows where that after party is too. Giggity giggity. That's nasty.
That's nice.
Man, we're talking about basically the two institutions that's keeping the lights on at Fox for the past 2 decades. That between those two and American Idol.
Yeah, I mean, they've had others, things have come and gone, but it's crazy we're sitting here talking in 2024 and the Simpsons it's older or as old as us, Steve.
Yeah, dude.
And it's still I haven't watched it in years, but it's there and it has to be good. I mean, it has to be like somewhat still good, right?
There has to be some value to it, man.
Yeah.
I mean, they borrow from like other ideas and stuff, man. And they're taking the Disney model, things that have been tried and tested before. They borrow from Shakespeare. They borrow from like all these other great writers and thinkers, man. Hell, they even borrow from other TV shows for their premises.
Well, I think it is also very weird that because they've been around so long, you see those like memes where they've predicted things that have happened in real life, which is crazy that, they're smart. And that's why they are around so long, is that they can think and see these things and sort of put that math together. And I'm assuming the people writing it and making it are still as good as Matt Groening and stuff. But they have pop culture continually pouring in that they get to use anyway. So that's the fuel to the fire. As long as they can keep good stories, everyone loves the characters. I still can go back watching these episodes that we watch. I mean, it's so great. I remember just being like infatuated with the show for years. It was on like when you came home from school and you just fucking see these episodes over and over again. And there's a reason why.
And we remember the original, man, when they first aired. So shout out to Matt, man. Shout out to Seth.
Yeah, dude. It's crazy. And it's so prolific. I mean, Family Guy's the same thing. Seth is, I think when I was watching it, they're at least into season 20 something.
Yeah.
And
easily.
It got canceled. And the public was like, no, please bring this back. And Fox accommodated it. Like the public actually formed a decision for this network and they brought it back. And now, like you said, it's literally one of the few things that they can make legit money on that people still watch.
This is Steve G and Marge with Happened in the 90s, a show where we talk about what happened in the 90s. So get out your Cordell Stewart jerseys and your Best of John Stewart tapes, because lucky we're some 90s guys. Lucky we're some men who positively can do all the things that make us laugh and cry. We're some 90s guys. Today, my friend, we're talking all things December 26th in the 90s. Starting off in 1991, Simpsons is airing season 3, episode 11, I Married Marge. In a flashback, we see Homer attempt to land a job at the Springfield Nuclear Power Plant. Hilarity ensues.
This is it, Steve. This is where it all started. This is where the Simpsons became a family, basically. So this is the prequel to everything we've seen for 40 years.
Yeah, it's pretty much, man.
Jesus. We still get all the intros, always great. We get Bart's chalkboard. That this one's a little scary. I will not torment the emotionally frail. That's getting a little sociopathic here, Bart. Take him to go see Dr. Hibbert. Get some pills. The end, they always have something different. And this one, They all cartwheel. The Simpsons all cartwheel onto the couch and sort of like jazz hands it. Very Family Guy-esque, I'd say. You know.
Now we're in the Simpsons home, and Marge is taking a home pregnancy test. Might be another bun in the oven.
Uh-oh. They got 3. I mean, Homer, wrap it up, dude. I mean, his pullout game is not working, Steve.
And she decides to go visit Dr. Hibbert. And they're like, why is mom going to the doctor? Yeah, she's fine. She just broke her leg.
She was walking. Yeah. Yeah, whatever. And Lisa's like, wait, is she having another baby? Is she going? I mean, which I wouldn't go to that immediately, but Lisa's on it, Steve. She's got feminine intuition, I guess.
And she's a genius, a wonder kid, if you will.
But not Das Wunderkind. That's Alex Wright. Shout out. So the cat's out of the bag, but Homer's like, you know what? Circle round, kids. Hop on over here. Let me tell you about when we had Bart, basically. The 80s. You know, Homer's got a dope ride, Steve. That thing is sick as hell, honestly.
1980 in Springfield. That's where he takes us, man. And this is a teenage Homer, fresh off the porch. And his first job is working the putt-putt windmills.
Damn. And it's like Conan style where he's just manning the wheels, Steve. And his boss is on his ass. You're doing it too fast, Simpson. I mean, gee, Homer's just not killing it at the pitch and putt. But he's working, Steve. He's trying. He's got to do something to get these hot babes of Springfield.
Yeah, and he's not killing it with this storytelling because halfway through he sees the kids are outside already playing croquet. Like, fuck this shit. So Maggie. She's a baby. She can't go anywhere. It's like, all right, I'm gonna continue telling you this story. So your mom, she was living with her 2 wicked sisters, and we cut to the Marge's home, and she's got a date with a Homer. And the sisters are just like, I don't know what you see in that hairy meatball. If you want something fat and hairy, we could just get a cat.
Yeah, Patty and Selma never liked Homer. We see Marge's mom, Miss Bouvier. She's surly as well. You can see where everyone got their attitude, but Marge is like, shut up, y'all. And she might want to just get a mask on or something because she's definitely going to have some lung issues because all that secondhand. She's basically just in one of those airport rooms that they have. But she's going out on her date with Homer, you know, comes up in that cool ride. They go, I think, see Empire Strikes Back, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
You know, afterwards, they leave. Homer immediately ruins the movie for everybody waiting in line for it by telling them that, you know, Darth Vader's Luke's father. No, which I'm sure happened, but luckily he doesn't get his ass whooped because him and Marge swap a little tongue, you know.
and he throws some Star Wars nerd game at her. You're as pretty as Princess Leia and as smart as Yoda.
Yeah, dude, but that works. He's got Riz, Steve, and Marge sees that. They make out, they share a kiss, and on the drive home, it's just all love. You know, they're holding hands, they're singing some weird song that I can't remember the words to, but neither can Homer. He's trying.
Homer, I don't know if it's the shampoo, but you're looking really handsome.
Oh, must be the shampoo talking.
Yeah, and that sweet ride, Steve. So instead of taking her back to Chez Bouvier, they go over to the pitch and putt because Homer's got the keys. They gets to banging in one of the, I think, in the windmills, Steve.
In the castle, yeah.
It's crazy.
Putt castle. Yeah.
It's kind of romantic though, you know. Except there's a guy playing pitch and putt.
Make sure it doesn't go into the wrong hole.
Where'd my ball go?
Do you want to know? Homer is roommates with Barney at this time.
Oh,
and yeah, they're living that bachelor life, I guess, man.
Yeah, dude, they're living. I mean, it's definitely check to check. One of them works at a fucking mini golf place, and Barney, maybe he's getting a government check. Steve, that's the most we can hope for at this point.
Yeah, I think he's on the spectrum, and.
Yeah.
Like while they're watching TV, Marge calls and she's like, I need you to take me to the doctor. And so they go to the doctor, and it's a young Dr. Hibbert with a fro around this time. And he's like, I think we found the reason you've been throwing up in the morning.
Oh, and all Homer can say is dough, which this might be the first one, Steve. This might be
Is
the
it?
first dough, honestly. You don't know that.
It could be.
But I will say, Dr. Hibbert, he looks cool as shit, honestly. What happened?
I mean, age.
Yeah. But he would definitely been on Soul Train in Springfield, Steve. He's looking cool. And he's got a doctor's salary, so you know he's going around Springfield just slanging.
Slanging that thing.
Yeah. So now they're pregnant, Steve. Homer and Marge, they got a bun in the oven. They're sitting at like a Lover's Lane thing that's overlooking Springfield. And Homer's like, I think he's looking for something, like a card that he wanted to give her. And she finds it. And it's a card to basically propose to her, Steve.
Yeah, this is worse than Martin's first proposal to Gina. I will marry you, damn.
Okay.
Yeah,
Are you happy now? Yeah, it's right up there, but Marge loves it. I mean, it's on a card, Steve. So I think it was just more like he just needed to see the words to say the words. You know, he didn't want to like fumble the ball. But
that's
Marge is into it. And she says yes, of course. I mean, we know what's gonna happen here, but they're in love, you know? But now we got to cut back to now, and the kids are asking about names. And Homer's like, oh, names. Let me tell you about picking out names. So we cut back, and now we're a little bit further in the past. They're in a jewelry store, and Homer has all these big dreams. He wants to buy her this nice ring. He wants to buy all these things for the baby to provide for Marge, which is great. And he might want to slow down, but Marge is trying to like think of names. They don't know what sex the baby is. So she's like, maybe Larry would be a good name. And he's like, well, then all the kids are going to call him Larry the Fairy. Like, we can't do that. Well, what about Louie? Screwy Louie? So there's all these names, Steve. And this is what I would do if I had a kid. You gotta outsmart the bullies. You gotta find something that's pretty like for me, I was fat. And I didn't know Matt, fat. It just doesn't,
that wasn't fair.
You just can't do that. You know what I'm saying? So Bob, Blob, come on, Marge. What the fuck are you thinking?
Stever the Beaver?
Lucas? What about, they're going to call him Mucus. I mean, so Homer, he might be a buffoon, but he's thinking ahead. He's doing a little bit of forward thinking here. But then we cut to the big day, which is actually just at like basically a little, it's called Shotgun Pete. So it's like a Las Vegas like place, not Vegas. There's no frills. There's stains on the ceiling. There's some old like wretched woman playing a Casio rap man to give you some music to walk down the aisle to. And after about a 2-minute ceremony, because they showed the clock going, they're man and wife, Steve. They're married in the eyes of the state gaming commission, at least.
And they basically move into Marge's family's house, and Homer hates this.
Yeah, dude, he's got to get out. But I mean, Marge is like brings up the fact like, how are you going to provide like this mini golf thing's nice. This is a nice thing for you, but I don't think we're going to be able to buy a house on mini golf money. So let's think about the future here. So he looks out a window and he sees this glowing, almost green aura around the power plant. Is it his future? Is it fate showing you that? Or is it the radioactive waste there? Who knows? But it's opportunities, Steve. There's money there. There's money in them there hills.
And Homer is knocking at it, man. So he's sitting at the interview, and there are two other candidates. Smithers, we find out his first name for the first time, Waylon. He comes out the door and he's like, we only have 2 openings. Unfortunately, one of those candidates is his old frat bro.
And they start doing the shake. They're like, oh, remember little Billy, dude? The pickle in the ass. It's in the bag, Steve. So Homer's sitting there like, well, shit, you know? Also, he's just not really doing well. You know what I'm saying? Like, the questions come up. He's not really got a lot of answers. In fact, one of them, Smithers is like, so what would happen if the reactor overheated? And Homer is like, oh, wait, what? It's overheating, and just runs out the building, Steve.
Yeah, and it didn't help that the other guy, he was in the same fraternity, but from the Alabama chapter.
Brother. They do the whole dance and whatever, but it's not looking good for Homer. In fact, to be honest with you, Steve, he should just left. He should have left when he ran out there. It was just going to be disappointment. So now Homer, he's out of job. He didn't get that job, so he's got to find something. So now we're going to see a little montage of just those other career paths that he took. Which the first one's like at some sort of like Revolutionary War museum that you walk around.
Ye old candle maker.
Yeah, and he's the candle maker, but when he pulls the candle, I mean, it's just the Klimt, Steve. It's a whole schmutz. It's not a candle.
Splooge. His next try is at Slashco, which is a parody of Cutco. I actually tried my hand at Cutco in
It
college.
didn't work.
I didn't get the call back. You know,
What?
you attend a seminar and they're supposed to call you back, and the mofo never called me back. But it's for the better.
Yeah, I think you're all right, Steve. I don't know if you would have been, selling a lot of knives, but hey, shame on them. It's their loss, Shame on them, Cutco. But
He stabs the old lady.
he's like, they're so sharp you can't shake hands with them, and then proceeds to let her shake hands with it just to prove it. So she's out God knows how many digits, Steve, if that thing's sharp. Jesus Christ.
And his next job is the pitiless pup attack dog school.
Yeah. And I mean, the money's good, but damn, he's going to lose something if he keeps it up. So then he moves on to just like one of these get rich quick seminars. And the guy assures him right at the beginning, he's like, this isn't like one of those pyramid schemes that you guys have been thinking about. This is a trapezoidal plan. So it's not that. It's different shape. Everybody's winning. And then he hears like police sirens and just jumps out the window, Steve, because it's Fugazi. You can't be doing it.
And that's something we were a part of or about to be a part of in college. Remember that?
Yeah, hell yeah. I mean, we even told dude, this sounds like a pyramid scheme. And I mean, shout out to a guy. When you think how creepy that was, Steve, just side note to all this, we get brought by a guy we were in the dorms with. I'm not going to use names. It was 2 letters of the alphabet, let's say. And he tells us about this wonderful opportunity, the sales pitch, if you will, that all pyramid schemes start with. It sounds great. Then he's like, yeah, let's go to this meeting. So in my head, first I was like, this is bullshit, but we had to go, Steve. We were broke. And dude had some money. And we get brought to a pretty nice apartment in Toledo, if I'm not mistaken.
It was like a loft. Yeah.
Yeah, and it seemed cool. But like what was going on, Steve? Do you think those were the top guys that were just like the schemesters that were running the whole thing?
Well, I mean, somebody is making money in these pyramid schemes. Somebody is getting money. It might not be you, but like somebody's getting it. And he might have been one of the guys getting the money.
He had a loft in Toledo, Steve. I mean, that's baller status. Baller alert.
Yeah.
I was impressed, but I walked away from that and later in life still thinking about it, being like, were we almost like raped or robbed, or was it just like, I don't know. It just seemed nefarious that these old dudes would have like these college guys bringing dudes to them. And I know it's a pyramid scheme, so it's a ripoff anyway, but it just like seemed bizarre. Like, I saved us, to be honest, Steve. I wasn't the most handsome. So if 2 like beefcakes walked in, we might have been drugged. I don't know. I think I saved us. I saved our sweet virgin ass, man.
Well, thank you.
But back to pyramid schemes, Steve, or trapezoidal schemes. It didn't work out. The guy's in jail. Homer has no job opportunities. And now all of his shit is getting repossessed. Everything he's bought, even the fucking ring, Steve, the ring, that's got to be a kick in the dick.
All of the baby gifts, bills are adding up, man. And Homer, he's just fed up. So he leaves Marge when she's asleep. He leaves her like a Dear John kind of letter. Like, I'm sorry, I've been a failure, and your family, I can tell they don't want me here. After he writes that, you hear Selma say, "Shut up with that loud pen scratching."
I mean, he needs to get out. That's a bad sitch. He does. He vacates, Steve. He writes a Dear Marge letter. Possibly will become a sitcom sometime in the future. And then we cut back to now, which, now she's in tears. She's like, that's so sad. And Homer's like, yeah, but you guys are here, so you don't need to cry about this. It's all good. It's fine. I become a responsible father. So things can change, Lisa. I'm a responsible dad now. So look what happens. And then Bart walks in and just asks if they can have like a can of cake icing for dinner. And he's like, yeah, fine. That's fine. So
Yeah, sure.
responsible, I don't know, Steve. We'll see. TBD on that.
And we cut back to the past, and Marge, she's crying reading this letter. And, her tears like permeate into the letter, smearing the words. But Patty and Selma, they go to the Gulp and Blow, and they notice that Homer's working there. That's the job that he, landed upon. And cutting back to Marge, we see that Homer's at least making enough to send her some money. But he's still ashamed of himself. He feels like he can't show his face around the Bouviers right now. He's just trying to, be a man on his own.
Hell yeah. Good job, Homer. I do like how Patty and Selma figure out Homer's working at that place because now his hair's starting to fall out and they're like, God, there's hair in my food. And they look over and it's just Homer like sucking at life. He's a good guy, Steve. The guy's sending money like he's fucking in prison or some shit. Like he's doing his best. Patty and Selma end up telling Marge that they saw Homer at this restaurant. So she shows up and she's like, I don't care. I just want you back in my life. I don't care if you're a loser. She doesn't say that, but she's like, I just want you back here.
Because she pulls up to the speaker and he's just like, what do you want?
My husband back by my side.
You want fries with that?
And, he's like, I can't come back yet, though. Like, I'm just a trainee here. Like, I can't even fry a late yet. I can't give you a ring. I can't do anything. I can't afford shit. She's like, I don't care if you can't afford a ring. It doesn't matter. Like, whatever ring you can afford is fine. So he looks around, and this is pretty sweet, Steve. He throws an onion ring on that finger.
Yeah.
And she loves it. It's a sweet gesture, but eventually she's like, can I take off the ring? Because the oil's starting to burn my skin.
And she asks him, do you know why I married you? Because I knocked you up?
No, Homer, because I love you.
So now he knows what he needs to do. He needs to get back with his woman, and he's on a mission. He takes off his uniform, and underneath is an I Shot JR shirt.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. Dallas. But Homer gets some moxie. He gets some nuts, Steve. And he grabs those big old nuts and walks right into Mr. Burns' office at the power plant. And he says, look, I'm here. I was here a few days ago. Whatever shit sandwich you want to feed to me, I will eat with a smile. I will change. I will do whatever you want me to. I'll kill a guy. I just need a job. And Mr. Burns is like, And Smithers says something about him like not passing some. What does he say?
He failed the test, and on his way out, he got trapped in the closet.
Yeah, he got trapped in the broom closet. But Burns is like, you know what? I like your moxie, kid. You got the gig. It's one of those. It doesn't make any sense. You got the gig. So then Homer, because of this, he's just riding high. He's riding a wave right now of success. He goes to the hospital because Marge is in labor. Bouviers are there, and they're just throwing sauce at him, sass, being just a whole bunch of shenanigans. He just finally mans up and is like, listen, I'm the man. I'm paying for this. If you want to be here, shut the fuck up. Respect this.
You go, Homer.
Yeah, dude. And this, I think everybody wants one of these moments in life. So shout out. He got one of those tasty moments, Steve. Just a nice, delicious fuck you moment that we all want.
And he lets Marge know, tomorrow I'm going to be a nuclear technician.
Oh, you got the job?
Yeah, and then I'll be house hunting. But wouldn't you have to work? Don't worry. Somebody will pick up my shift.
Yeah, somebody got him. Lenny will get it. He doesn't even know Lenny yet.
But when Bart is born, He's already causing havoc, man. I gotta
Oh, I
call.
forgot. I forgot about that. Yeah. What is that? What happens when the little demon shows up, Steve?
I guess he was born with a Zippo lighter in his hand because he sets Homer's tie on fire.
Yeah, dude. That's a problem. Also, as just a human, I'd be like, how'd that kid get a Zippo? Was that in you? What's going on,
Yeah,
Marge? What kind of fucking fucked up shit's going on in there? But
Bartholomew.
I mean, you should have known, Steve. This kid, he's destined for either greatness or violence. One of the two. But yeah, dude, Bart, he's a little devil. But the Simpsons, Steve, they're strong. They got a strong base. They got a strong foundation, Steve. Built
And
on putt putt.
this is the first of 3 origins. We also will get a Lisa origin story as well as a Maggie. Julie Kavner, the voice of Marge, she actually won an Emmy Award for outstanding voiceover performance for this episode.
I mean, this is a banger. This is a memorable one. And again, this is like you're getting like the prequels. This is now the show's prolific enough. I mean, it's only season 2 at this point, but they're starting to really like build on what they've already told. So
This is season 3.
is it season 3? I had season. Oh, I'm looking at Family Guy. My bad. Still, season 3. That's still early on in what now 40 seasons or whatever insane number they're at. So man, that's crazy. Shout out, dude. Matt Groening, legend.
Somebody who probably didn't watch this episode of Simpsons in 1991 is your boy, Pro Football Hall of Famer coach Chuck Noll. He retires as head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Born and raised in Cleveland, you're welcome.
I think you'll find that a lot of people that you guys get are from Pennsylvania. Like the greats, it's like there's a lot of cross pollination that if you're somebody from Ohio, you guys have missed out on a lot of talent that has just gone right across the border there. But Chuck Noll, like, if you don't know football, if you're only like a modern day football person, I think arguably he is the best coach of all time, but I'm a Steelers fan. I think obviously Belichick's going to be put up there too, but dude, Noel, dude, he's one of the longest tenured. This motherfucker was a Steelers coach for like 30 fucking years. It felt like the dude won rings. The dude had some of the most legendary teams of all time, some of the most legendary players, some of the greatest defenses of all time. And he was one of those guys that started this legacy of Steelers coaches where I think they've only had 3 or 4 the whole time that team's been in existence.
It's Mike Tomlin, I think, is only the 3rd coach, I want to say, because it was before him, it was your boy Slaughterchin.
Coward, dude.
Howard, yeah.
There was a guy before Chuck Noll who did it for 2 years. His name was Bill Austin. I knew there was somebody before him, but it was literally, he's a footnote, Steve. Chuck Noll, 1969 to 1991.
That's insane.
For a football coach, I mean, this is a bygone era where people didn't get traded all the time and people didn't do all that shit. But still, dude, that guy, his stats, he's right up there. If he is not the best coach in football history, he's got to be in the top 5 for sure.
I mean, you got a strong argument, man. You can't overlook Bill Walsh and, like you said, Belichick. But, this is a bias, obviously, man. But Johnson is my favorite. Good old Jimmy.
Yeah, I mean, of course he is, Steve. You're a fucking Cowboys fan. Of course he is. And he's good. I mean, there's all a reason. The successes, they're all in the top 5 probably. But damn, dude, Chuck Noll, for anything he has beyond everybody else is the tenure time. Because even back then, to be in the league coaching as a head coach of a professional football team for, how many presidents did this fucking guy see? You know what I'm saying? It's crazy.
He went from Nixon to Bush 1. That's insane.
Yeah. So shout out, dude. Rest in peace, Chuck Noll. Chuck Noll and the Steelers. I mean, this guy started the standard, Steve. It is what it is.
Hey, pop my collar, man. He started this gangster shit. On that same day in 91, the Supreme Soviet of the Soviet Union meets and formally dissolves the Soviet Union, ending the Cold War. And this was a big deal, obviously. We were at a spat with Russia for the longest. I was too young. We were too young to understand like the gravitas of it all.
Mr. Gorbachev, break that wall down. Yeah, dude. We didn't understand it, but it was a huge fucking moment and for a lot of people. And how did it go from this to now we hate him again? It's like, come on, guys. Where's this energy at?
Vladimir be pooping.
Yeah, goddamn. But yeah, Gorbachev, dude, that dude with the weird birthmark on his head. That's what we all remember. That's what I remember.
Yeah, it's like I
Gravy
know that's
stain.
a thing. He's in
Somebody
another
throw
country.
gravy at that guy.
He doesn't have enough money to get that fixed. Can't get a toupee, get a top for that.
But this was a thing, dude. This was Reagan was here. This was that time, basically. No, it wasn't. He wasn't that.
Well,
No,
Reagan,
he kind of started this a little bit.
he started it, but 91, we're still with the Bush #1.
Not gonna do it. Wouldn't be
Hey,
pretty. Yeah, dude. Shout out to the Cold War. We didn't get to have those exciting times, but thank God, dude. These people had to think about maybe getting nuked. But again, we're here again and we keep hearing this shit. So what happened, Russia? Fucking Putin? Read a book.
Where did we go wrong?
Yeah, dude.
1997, Afterglow premieres in theaters. A handyman with marital problems meets a housewife with the same. Directed by Alan Rudolph, starring Nick Nolte, Julie Christie, Lara Flynn Boyle, and Johnny Lee Miller.
Ah, hell, Steve. Yeah.
This is a sexy little treat. Nick Nolte joint, Steve.
Hey, man, he's coming to your house to drain some pipe.
Here's my thing. This movie is setting up like it's a whole like open relationship situation going on here where there's two married couples and like they're just switching, and they're aware that they're switching.
Not fully.
Not fully, okay. I misinterpreted the trailer a little bit, but there's some adults knocking some boots here, Steve, and Nick Nolte's crazy ass is one of them. He's in there and he's getting frisky.
He's just a handyman. He can't help it. The hose is all on his thing. And
I'm
Johnny,
here to fix the pipes. Ah, hell.
because Lara Flynn Boyle, her character is married to Johnny Lee Miller's character, and she wants to have a baby, but he's too busy being an aristocrat, and he's doing all of this business, buy, sell, buy, sell. I don't have time for a baby. Oh, bring another life into this world, buy, sell, buy, sell. And she just had enough, man. She's not satisfied in her marriage, but luckily, Nick Nolte, knock knock, he comes here to repair some homes and break them at the same time. Just happened to come around the corner, and he got to coming. So when Johnny Lee Miller finds out about this, he feels a certain way. They get into a fight, and I don't like this Johnny Lee Miller character because he falls in love with Nick Nolte's wife, and she's not feeling him. She's just like passing him on, like little pup. But eventually, she's had enough of Nick Nolte, and she gets it in with the Johnny Lee Miller character. So he wants his wife, and he in the movie he beats up Nick Nolte. Nick Nolte's supposed to be a tough handyman. Why is he getting his ass beat by this like little yuppie?
I got pussy juice all over. I can't fight you. Ah, hell.
Yeah. I that's my one gripe about the movie. Overall, it was decent. I don't really care about little schmaltzy ass love movies and shit. Never been my thing. I don't even know if I can consider it that.
Can I ask though, is there some meaning to the title of the film? Like, is there some reference to Afterglow? Is it like the after sex afterglow, or is there something spicy related to that? Or
well, at the end, Lara Flynn Boyle and Johnny Lee Miller, they like make passionate love. Yeah, they get the bussin', yeah. And
that's the end of the movie, is just fade away on him just pumping away at Laura Flynn Boyle, Steve.
Well, after they have a wild fuck sesh, the guy, he's like, you know what? I don't remember what he said to her, but he ends up like going onto a bridge, and throughout the movie, he has this thing with playing with death. He goes onto like the edge of a building, and he like steps 1 foot off and stuff. But this time, when he's on the bridge, he falls off. Unfortunately, he doesn't die. He just breaks his leg.
The hell, you're in the middle of the post WFS wild fuck sesh, and you just want to just play with death, Steve, like Jenny and Forrest Gump.
Yeah, I honestly don't get it. So to answer your question, I don't understand the afterglow.
No, I'm just anything where Nick Nolte gets to bust a little bit, I'm into it, because the man's a legend, Steve. Let him do it. He's a blue chip.
He's a blue chip, man. He fought crime with Eddie Murphy twice.
Ah, hell.
In 1999, Family Guy is airing Season 2, Episode 3, Da Boom. Paranoid about Y2K, Peter herds the family into the basement for protection.
This is like one that me and Jordan must have watched just because of the Randy Newman part. This is one of my favorites. So
This is an episode of a lot of firsts. This is the first appearance of the chicken that Peter beefs with throughout the series. This is the first appearance of live action scene cutaways, the first appearance of Trisha Takanawa, and the first episode to be rated TV 14. But more importantly than all that, this is the first episode to have Mila Kunis as Meg.
oh wow. This is it, Steve. This should be the first episode then, because this is where it really all started. You know, she's the keystone. Yeah, dude. This is a legendary one. This is a hard show to talk about because it's a lot of cutaways. So
Too many.
we're going to bear with us, guys. Bear with us on this one. But it's 99, Steve. Prince. We've been waiting for this. Peter's been waiting for. Everybody's been waiting for this. The party's about to start. I think Quagmire's got the party, which I don't know. That might be a Diddy party, Steve. I don't know, Steve.
Quagmire, yeah. Hey, just like Jamie Foxx said, you just got to leave at 9.
Mm-hmm. You get some in that bottle. Meg has to go to some party. She wants to go to some other party, I think, with a guy she's into. You know, there's a lot of shit happening. It's 99. You know, everybody's here, but Peter, he's not into it, Steve. There's some rumblings.
And this is one of the cutaways where they're watching the news and they have a salute to all the people they lost in 1,000 years. And they show Joan of Arc, some other person, and Norman Fell, the neighbor from Three's Company.
He's up there. He's right up there with Joan of Arc. And this is where we cut to this chicken fight, which I don't remember the exact line, but it's just an all-out, just like a 5-minute brawl between Peter and this gigantic chicken, Steve.
Because they're outside the grocery store and there's a guy dressed in a bird costume and he's giving out coupons. And Peter's like, I don't accept coupons from chickens because of that last time. And then they cut away and the chicken gives him a expired coupon. And that just does it for Peter. They just bust
Son
out.
of a bitch.
Yeah, it's epic, man. It rivals every Harrison Ford movie, some damn They Live with Roddy Piper, all of that into one scene.
Yeah. A couple of diehards, you know, there's a couple of explosions in this, a train fight, a plane fight, I think. There's a whole there's all kinds of shit. And then the guy cut back to the guy in the chicken suit, and the guy's like, hey man, Y2K, man. And Peter's like, Y2K, what are you trying to sell me, sex jelly? So then we cut to home because now Peter knows about Y2K. Steve, remember this? Remember when there was like, we were kids, so there was like this little naive part of me that was like, is the world gonna end? Like, you were waiting, you know?
We didn't know, man. Like our electronics, how are they going to reset? Are they going to be able to like calculate 0-0? Like are the computers going to come alive and kill us like Terminator 2 style?
And I always wondered in that scenario that somebody is smart enough to create a device that's a nuclear bomb and launch it with the press of a button, but they're not smart enough to think of the like 0000. Like if that happens, guys, the whole shit's fucked. Like it's just going to go off. It's like, okay, well then maybe we don't use whatever this is, guys. That's crazy. Figure that out. Figure that out, IT guy.
And after his chicken fight, the boys are greeting Peter, basically awaiting him for this party. And Peter's like, man, I'm not going to that party. There's no time for partying. And you know what? I bet you'll run into those 2 bailiff chicks from Night Court and you won't know which one is which.
Yeah. So enjoy that. Enjoy that little fun. I'm going to go put some of these Donald Trump survival buckets down in my basement so me and my family can eat, okay? When the inevitable happens. So everybody wants to go out in the family. Brian's getting his best on. He's got a date with a flautist, I believe. Maybe somebody, a flautist. Yeah, there you go. She's going to twerk and play flute in front of him. But Peter's like, you guys aren't going anywhere. Okay? Kids, nobody. It's Y2K. So we're staying put. And they're like, no, that's bullshit. This is stupid. And Peter's like, okay, that's fine. Yeah. Hey, kids, remember those Christmas presents that you guys wanted but didn't get? They're downstairs in the basement. And that's all it takes, Steve. That's all it takes.
And then he kicks Lois down into the basement. Then I think he asked, like, "Hey, Lois, are you pregnant?" No, Peter. And he just kicks her.
Hey, he made sure though, Steve, just a safety. Just want to make sure I'm not pulling a crazy atrocity here. And she's like, "No, I'm not pregnant." He's like, "All right, okay, yeet." So it's getting close to midnight. They're watching TV in the basement like some weirdos. Everyone else is partying. Trisha Takanawa's out. She's out and about because she's Asian reporter Trisha Takanawa, which we all know. That's her bona fide, Steve. You got to include it all. She's counting us down. She's the one. She's it. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, we get there and it's 0. And everyone's like, hey, idiot, nothing happened. Peter's like, oh, shit. I guess it was sex jelly. And then all hell breaks loose, Steve.
Bombs go off, explosions, missiles,
planes, trains, and automobiles. John Candy's flying around someplace, for God's sake. Everything's happening now. And it turns out that guy in the chicken suit, God damn it, he was right, Steve.
Even aliens can see the explosions. And even a guy with a probe up his ass can see it from the alien ship.
That's got to feel not good with the probe, but just being up there and being like, oh, shit. Okay.
At least
I guess
there's that.
it's apocalypse time now, Steve. This is it. This is Walking Dead, but worse because nothing's here. There's no stores really, it's just nuclear waste. But Peter's feeling great because he was right. That's gotta feel great as like the guy, the conspiracy guy. When the shit does, there's gotta be one person that's like, it's whoever, Alex Jones. It's like, I told you. It's not him, but
broken clock.
Yeah, I guess you're right. We're all gonna die, Steve. You just gotta wait. You're just sitting there waiting, but it's post-apocalypse, and Peter's like, "Hey, Lois, you remember when I was the third Hardy Boy?" And she's like, "There was no third Hardy Boy." And he's like, "Yeah, just like there was no apocalypse, you dummy." Quagmire and Cleveland, they've now formed into one being. Now they're Siamese somethings. I don't know what you call this.
Quagland.
Yeah, Quagland. It's weird.
They have this like stockpile of food. Peter, he eats like a whole year's worth. Lois is like, you can't be wasting food. And then they do a cutback to when Peter's trying to feed an episode of Magnum PI on the television. Like, no, Wiggins, you've already had yours. Tom Selleck's got to get his.
Bad Wiggins. It's Higgins.
Higgins, yeah.
Which is hilarious. But he's eaten, this is freeze-dried, like whatever, freeze-dried food. It's powder. So he's eating boxes of it. He's like, I'm not even full yet. He takes a little sip of water, blasts up like a balloon, like the blueberry girl in Willy Wonka. And he just looks at everyone and is like, everyone get out. I have to poop now. No!
Peter and Brian, like, they overhear the reporters eating. It smells like barbecue. And apparently they barbecued Asian reporter Trisha Takanawa.
They're just going to be hungry in an hour again.
Yeah.
So there's no food, Steve. There's no food in Quahog. And Peter and the family have to make some hard choices now. They got to move. They got to get on the move. They got to get on the road. They got to find some food. So Peter's like, crazy idea. There's a Twinkie factory down the road in wherever. I forget the name of the place. And Twinkies, Steve, they survive everything. They're like cockroaches, Nothing will deteriorate these things. They're foolproof. And then we get a cutaway. Is this where we cut to Twinkie the kid?
Twinkie the kid, yeah. They watch a documentary, like an A&E documentary on Twinkie the kid. And they interview Twinkie's parents and how he was just a weird kid growing up. He wasn't like the others.
Yeah. We let him really kind of do whatever he wanted, but we took the baton away when he had that because that was just too weird.
He already had the lasso.
Twinkie dealing with a little bit of problems, but in an apocalypse situation, perfect. Twinkies galore. So that's the mission.
The town is Natick, and they seek out this town because it's the place where the Twinkie factory is. So they leave Joe behind to house it, but apparently Joe is melted into the ground, so he has no choice. He can't move.
Yeah, so they just put like a bunch of rat traps around him, which seems cool, you know, like you don't want the guy to have to fuck around with some rats. They leave, and as soon as they leave, a rat shows up. It's like Master Splinter level rat, but even like more yoked up, and it starts growling at him. And Joe he's ready to go. He's like, "Bring it on!" He's ready to go.
Joe is always with the shits.
He's a soldier, Steve. So he's going to get into a little tussle with a mutant radioactive rat, but we're on the road now. They're driving, and this is the thing, Steve. When an apocalypse starts, you drive. Humans, there's going to be raiders or whatever, Steve, pirates, if you will. So they kind of come upon this big group of post-apocalyptic raiders, and these people want food. They're like, guys, we're hungry. We want some food. And Peter's like, we don't have any. The guy's like, okay, well, if you don't have any food, you got to answer a question to pass. And he's like, name one thing that you would bring to a cookout. So this is like Family Feud style. Peter says potato salad. The captain of the pirates goes, show me potato salad, and looks up at the sky like there's going to be something. And there's nothing, Steve. He's a lunatic. So they just kind of creep on by. You know
Yeah, they sneak up out of there. And so they continue their sojourn, and they come across a house. And there's a guy sitting on the porch, just some random ass twiddling Dixie dueling banjo ass dude. And he's like, we got plenty of room here and all the apples you can eat. This place is paradise. Sure is, except for Randy Newman.
Holy, and Randy Newman's right there, Steve. So as promised, they're there. Randy Newman, he sees the family starts playing, and I'm gonna just start reciting a little bit. Steve, join in if you remember. But it's fat man with his kids and dog drove in through the morning fog. Hey there, Rover. Come on over. And Lois is like, let's give it a chance. It's fine. You know, this might be kind of cool. We got Randy Newman like giving us a little soundtrack. So she walks over to get an apple, and then Randy Newman keeps going. He's like, red-headed lady, reaching for an apple, wipe it on the blouse. She takes a bite, chews it once, 12 times, 3 times, 4 times. Stop. Takes a long, hard look at Wendy.
5 times.
Fat old husband walking over. And that's enough, Steve. Apocalypse, food, fuck it. Lois is like, let's get the hell out of here.
They're walking down the road. Left foot, right foot.
And Peter pegs him in the face with one of the apples just let him know, Steve. So we're back to Apocalypse walking. Chris won't stop singing the fucking Randy Newman song, so that's a problem. It's stuck in his head. But they get to Natick, and when they get there, they're like, yo, dude, there's no Twinkie factory anywhere. Like, they're looking around, and then for some reason, like, I guess they just needed some sun. The sun just kind of like peeks over the clouds and illuminates the Twinkie factory, Steve. It's the one building left, and it's in pristine condition.
And then when they get inside the factory, it's like a room full of boxes. They feel like they got it made now.
But this is where I kind of question it. They seem kind of selfish, right? But now Peter's like, we could start a whole new Quahog here. And they decide to like start society again. And they go get all their friends. They got to do all this stuff. And while they're kind of like doing all this, like at the beginning in this factory, Stewie falls into like this weird puddle of waste.
That's right.
And
yeah.
he mutates, Steve. He becomes like an octopus baby.
He grows tentacles.
It seems to fit him though. It seems right. You know, it works.
It's fitting. Yeah.
Yeah. But then we cut like future time. Society, Twinkies have brought us back, Steve, from the brink of collapse. New Quahog's here, and Peter's the mayor, Steve. He started this shit.
Who would have thought Twinkies was the key to boosting the economy, man? He's the mayor for life.
Yeah. I mean, fuck it. He founded this shit. He found the Twinkies. So you get that? Now Stewie also, because it's the future. At first he just had like tentacle hands and arms. Now he's a full tentacle boy. He literally is an octopus running around in like weird a water room, which, that seems pretty cool. They figured that out.
I like the random cutaway to Quagland, and Quagmire is like, "Yeah, it's time to go home and get tender with your wife." Giggity giggity.
I don't know, Quagmire. Making love to Loretta just ain't the same since we got connected like this. And it's basically a three-way sitch, Steve. Do you think Quag can feel that, or is it just like a giggity sitch? Because he's sitting there watching the whole time, side view, just like giggity. Giggity.
It's like a co-thrust. He throws it in his pelvis.
Yeah. But Peter, he's playing poker with his buddies. Joe's still around. He's got just a big old hunk of concrete connected to his body now. Quagland's hanging out. They're playing. I don't know if they both get cards. Maybe they do. It seems kind of cheating. A new guy shows up to New Quahog. It's a guy in a suit. It turns out this guy's a doctor. It's like, holy shit, an apocalypse. This is fantastic. But in New Quahog, different kind of set of rules. You just got to pick out of a hat what your job is. So fuck that you have a medical degree. You're going to be the village idiot. It's pretty fun.
Get to wave your penis in traffic. And then you cut away to the other people with these new professions. There's an old lady being a firefighter and a donkey as a dentist. And Brian, he gets to be Truman Capote in a tell-all stage play.
Also, side note, Stewie ends up laying like 1,000 eggs. Just remember that. But then Peter gets into his head, we got to protect this. There's going to be people coming. We need guns. A chicken in every pot and a cap in every ass, Steve, as he says later. So, people are like, I don't know if that's a good idea, but he moves forward with it, uses all of the city's irrigation pipes to make legit good-looking guns, and tells everybody, but this now New Quahog's like, yo, dude, you've already fucked up a bunch here. You're out. Okay? And he's like, man, this is more embarrassing than the time I got fired from the job at the bulimia clinic. And he walks in, and it's just him wiping himself off. And he walks into a room full of bulimics. He's like, man, did anybody else puke last night? So they're out, Steve. They're on the outer walls. The gate's shut. The whole family's there because they get kicked out. So they got to figure out a new place to go. And that sucks, Steve. What else can you do? But inside, Steve, everyone thinks it's all gravy. Like, why would we need all these guns?
Yeah, they burn the guns. And
Weird.
as they're burning the guns, this militia of Octo Stewies just come and raid and just basically take over the town. And you can see behind the griffins that the town just blows up. So New Quahog or Natick is no more.
Yeah, I mean, tragic, but they're used to this, Steve. They've already done it once. So Peter's like, I think there's a Carvel factory in Framingham. So now they got to go there. Ice cream cakes, maybe they don't go bad, Steve. I don't know.
You saw what they could do with Twinkies.
Yeah, dude. But then we cut. And this isn't a cartoon, Steve. Somebody wakes up. It's a woman. I'm sure I don't know the name of the woman, but she's startled. She's beautiful, but she's startled. So she walks into the bathroom and she's like, honey. And the guy opens up the shower door, and it's none other than just Patrick Duffy, Steve, the Duff Man.
Bobby Ewing.
He's here. He's like, what's going on? And she's like, I had this weird dream about Family Guy and the world ending. And he goes, what's Family Guy? And he just looks right at the screen, like right at the camera, Steve, and that's it.
That's a tie-in to the Simpsons. That's a Dallas reference for both shows, man.
That's Dallas. That's
And
crazy. I love this. This is one of those episodes that when they released that first DVD set, I guarantee you that section of the Randy Newman section, it was scratched because we watched it so much.
Oh yeah, dude, because you had the first couple seasons, man.
I'll give credit. Jordan's the one that bought those. He bought those
Okay.
before I got them, so it was his. But yeah, they were in queue. I would say most nights. We were binge watching things before binge watching was. We're setting the trend, Steve. is what it is.
Throw in some Clerks animated series. That was a part of the rotation.
Fucking deadly Motaba virus burritos, Steve. Love that.
But yeah, we had to hop on this opportunity, man, because the window for Family Guy is very small. They started in '98, and we had one other episode of Family Guy under our belt. I want to say earlier this year that we did, but yeah, this is the final one before the millennium.
Well, let's hope it. Thankfully it didn't go tits up like we see here. But we also had to do this episode this week just to talk about Nick Nolte just bumping skins in that Afterglow movie, Steve.
Yeah,
It's
just
very important stuff.
and
You
this
know,
version of Nick Nolte is like, man, you should be ashamed for allowing this man to take your woman.
it's like right in the middle of whatever happened because again, this guy was looking Cape Fear Nick Nolte, fucking solid. I'll buy some insurance off this guy. It's fucking, maybe we can swing like him and his wife. We can do what he's doing in this movie. But now Nick, what he's doing now, it's like he just did the bad drugs. He just started doing whatever that was.
Life was hard. But somebody who probably didn't watch this, I bet you want to know who, Matthew.
You tell me, you son of a bitch.
Probably American singer, songwriter, and producer Curtis Mayfield. Legendary, man, from Chicago, one of the greatest albums of all time, the Superfly soundtrack. And, from that soundtrack, it spawned a lot of scores for future movies. Freddy's Dead, that was used in Friday. Hey, hey, Freddy's dead.
Yeah.
And then Pusher Man, that I'm your in the alley, I'm your Pusher Man.
Once they started, like rap started heavily sampling that, like it got heavily sampled. So I found out about Superfly through rap, like being like, what the fuck is this like weird like thing that they're playing at the front of the song?
Yeah, man, his music, man, it lived on through, like you said, throughout hip hop, from future movies in the '90s, and even going further, man. The soundtrack I feel was probably more popular than the actual movie. Like Superfly is a blaxploitation classic, but damn, the soundtrack, man, it's considered one of the greatest albums of all time.
Yeah, and it did lead to like a bunch of great like songs that they used to like samples of that stuff on. So it has like a legacy even beyond just the actual music that they made, which is crazy.
That previous year, '98, man, he had to have his right leg amputated because of diabetes, and that's what ultimately took his life. Type 2 diabetes, man. He passed December 26, '99 at 7:20 Eastern in Roswell, actually in Georgia here.
Damn. I didn't know he was like, I don't, for some reason, I just thought Curtis Mayfield like died like not in the 90s for whatever reason. But shout out to Curtis Mayfield, dude.
Any callbacks, honorable mentions, or takeaways?
Real quick, Steve, we're not going to look at random cards. I found just like a something I might just send to you.
You found a winner?
I found, well, it's not, it has to be a winner because it's mounted, but it's a Troy Aikman card, Steve.
Oh,
So I think I might be sending this to you in the mail with the rest of your Christmas gifts.
dude.
So there's that. Troy Aikman. I don't want to pull the card out. It's encased in plastic, Steve. So this is whenever year this is. This has been in this. This is crisp. I don't know. This might be worth some money. So, maybe
Troy.
if it ever gets emergencies happen. And then I found something else. We've been talking about Wizard magazine. I found an old episode or old-ish of Wizard. And inside this, Steve, I didn't even know this existed. An Undertaker one-off cartoon or comic book, Steve. This is a WWF comic book starring the dead man himself.
That shit looks crispy too, man.
Dude, look, I mean, it does. Look at this fucking legendary picture of Undertaker. That's Undertaker, dude. Look at that.
Who was the guy that did Spawn? It looks like that style of animation. Is Seth? No, I'm not.
Todd McFarlane.
Todd
McFarlane.
Yeah.
But Undertaker's fighting some like beasts in this thing, dude. It's again, very crazy. And then on the back, I just have to point this out real quick, of this wizard is an ad for Orgasmo the movie.
I can't believe. Oh, how did they get that through?
I apparently, and in that, I actually opened it up. They're talking about South Park the movie in that episode because they're like, "Man, you guys really need to do something after our basketball flopped." And I was like, "Jesus Christ, you guys should have just shut up and wait a couple of months when South Park came out." Because remember how big that was when the movie came out?
Hell yeah, bigger and better, uncut. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, hell yeah. But that's it. You'll get a Troy Aikman card in the mail along with some Buckeyes and something else too that I'm not going to say.
Yeah, man. So I got some stuff on the way for you too, man.
Hell yeah.
All I got, man, is 1992. Clarissa is airing Marshall's midlife crisis, and man, your boy who you actually met, he's going through it, man. He's hit that stage in life where it's like, where do I go from here? And I kind of feel bad for Marshall, but I always remember the story that you told me that wasn't so great, and it's like, man, f Marshall. Ever since then, I've been like, man, f some Marshall, darling.
He wasn't, at least at the time, Steve, wasn't happy of to remember that the legacy of Clarissa explains it all. I don't get it, but I don't hold anything against it. Sometimes it comes out wrong. When I approached Fred Durst, I said something incorrectly that he took as an insult, and it didn't work out. So I just need to mind my words a little bit more, Steve. When you say I was a fan, that's not great.
Yeah. In 1994, Monday Night Raw, Undertaker makes a return after like a 3-month hiatus, but that's pretty much it, man. December 26th, you should have done better in the 90s. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment. Please tell your sister, red-headed lady reaching for an apple. Check out Food Show Fanatics as well as Crushgasm and our guy Clark the Shark on Podcastle. This is Steve G and Matt G with
Happened in the 90s.
Matt was the fat kid, Steve was the black kid. Life wasn't always great, but you know what was? The 90s. Happened in the 90s. Yeah!
Take a long hard look at Wendy. Fat man walking over.